Welcome to the Veterans Cafe Podcast, Episode 9.
I'm Tracy.
And I'm Wes. And in this episode, we wanted to talk a little bit about nutrition and fitness, something that can be a little bit difficult for not only soldiers who are deployed or on missions or things like that, but also veterans getting out. We actually discussed it the other day, right, when I said that I got out of the Army and realized that I had no idea what I was doing. I'd just been forced to run like 5 miles all the time or whatever. But in terms of like my actual, eating properly and exercising properly, I had no idea what I was doing. So we actually wanted to cover that, for a little bit in this podcast, since my wife happens to be a subject matter expert in that area.
Well, I don't know about expert, but I was a full-time personal trainer for 12 years. And, anyway, I still love fitness and I still talk about it, and I still work out, of course. And I don't know, I love following just the changes, as we learn more about nutrition and, as we learn more about exercise. I just find it fascinating. Anyway, one of the reasons I thought this would be good to talk about was because, I'm still traveling. I'm still in Georgia, so I'm still on Skype, and my husband's still in Florida. But this mission that we were on was really amazing. And even though I had a lot of fun, and I have some photos that I'm just starting to share, and I'm still waiting to get some more released. We were in a really remote part of Savannah, Georgia, outside of it. So as a result, it was beautiful, and all the civilians we met were really, friendly. But we ended up eating fried chicken almost every single day. And it was awesome and delicious. But, if you're in the Army, you have to be careful, right, of how much you weigh and then how you can perform. And, with the schedule we had, eating all the fried chicken, and then it was Valentine's Day, and, my amazing husband spent, this beautiful boxes and boxes and boxes of chocolate, and it was fantastic. But anyway, once I finally had a break from the mission, which was 7-8 days straight or so, I went on my first run, and it was the day after Thanksgiving. It was the day after Valentine's Day when I had all the chocolate and a week of fried chicken. So I went on a 4-mile run, and oh my God, that was so challenging. But it just made me realize that I think this is a challenge that a lot of soldiers face, when they're on different missions. And I know you had some obstacles to overcome when you were deployed. So I just thought this might be an interesting topic.
Yeah, and it was we were talking about it the other day about how, when I was 20 years old in the infantry, taking down 6,000 calories a day in MREs was not an issue for me. I was young, my body could, metabolize it, and we were constantly moving, going, and doing things. So it was no big, it was just 3 square meal kind of thing, so it wasn't that big a deal. But now, I mean, and anyone really, I would imagine, even when you get older, or if you are older, then you understand the effects that an MRE can have on your body, because it's literally like consuming a brick wall or something like that. And it definitely made it difficult for me as I've gotten older to actually, try and eat a little bit more healthy. Fortunately, I haven't had to consume too many MREs in my later years. I'm not in active duty anymore, so it's not like I'm out in the field eating MREs all the time or deployed and in a position to where I need to eat them all the time. But stuff like that can definitely be a challenge, especially as you continue to get older.
I completely agree. I don't know. I know I've mentioned this to you before, but I don't think we've talked about it recently. When we were fortunate to go to Panama, God, when did we go?
2011 or 2012 or was it 13?
I don't even know. I'd have to look at my own website and Facebook pages to look at when we went. But when we went, the point of my little thing about MREs is we ended up getting MREs almost every single meal, and most of us, of course, didn't eat the whole thing, because even though we were building houses and schools and all that in the heat, it's just too many calories and you just don't feel good because it's not real food. And, we ended up finding local civilian places that were approved and we could eat at, and it was amazing. But the point about the MREs is, I think it's no secret that they're processed, and they're processed, of course, because they're designed to live for years, right? So that way, if you really do need them, they're there for you. But what amazed me was in this little trip to Panama, there were like, dogs that were like starving, right? Like all over the place. And of course, I mean, because there's people starving. And it was just so sad because like they were starving, right? And you could see like their ribs, and we were feeding them like, parts of the MREs, like once they were heated up and everything. And they like refused to eat them because they didn't even acknowledge them as food. And it was like,
it's sad, but it's still kind of funny too.
But horrible, right? Because I'm sitting here stuffing my face with, the randomness, and these creatures that were like starving would smell them and just walk away. I don't know. It was crazy to me.
And even aside from just MREs, when I was deployed, we would have to eat at chow halls all the time. And it varied from chow hall to chow hall, depending on where you were, what base you were on. The chow halls definitely varied a bit, but man, even then the food was not. I mean, sometimes it was tasty, but I could just tell that I wasn't getting very much nutritional value out of the food. And I remember I told you I tried to actually continue to eat somewhat paleo lifestyle as much as I could while I was over there. Even though it was a little hard to get just basic simple fats, like good butter and stuff like that. But, man, it really started messing with me. I started getting like these ice pick headaches. And I remember I reached out to you and you had actually come up with a workout plan for me and everything. But like nutrition-wise, you had a good friend that actually suggested I use a meal replacement, which I got. And that helped me a ton. Like I was just suddenly getting all these vitamins and all these nutrients that my body required, which apparently the only way you can get it is if you eat burgers and fries in a chow hall over there. So, even while you're deployed, this is still an issue, even if you're not having to eat MREs all the time. At least it was for me, for sure. And I don't know, again, it could be because I'm a little older. I'm not that old. I mean, I'm only 32, so it's not like it's not like I'm 50 or something. So I don't know, just getting a little bit older. I'm obviously not in as good a shape as I used to be when I was younger. And so even chow hall food became sort of a complication for me while I was deployed overseas.
Yeah, it's interesting. I didn't realize food was going to be that difficult, before I joined the Army, because, like I joined later in life, and I was really shocked. Like I remember going to basic training and tasting the food and just looking at the quality, because, I had been a trainer. So, I always ate really clean, and it was interesting because, my stomach was not happy, and, what else was I going to do? So of course I had to eat everything that, that I was given, but it's just interesting. I don't know. And then the whole MRE experience with the starving dogs was just really one of those things that I'm just like, wow, I don't like the taste of it. I don't like the nutrition of it. It's just definitely one of those things like going forward, like from that point on, right? We always buy like protein bars and nuts and stuff like that, like beef jerky. That way we could have like somewhat better food in those situations. But
yeah, luckily
anyway,
you sent me.
I thought it was worth mentioning.
Yeah, luckily you sent me a ton of that stuff while I was overseas, so it was easier for me to take in a ton of beef jerky and even the junk food felt like it helped a little bit. When you sent me like those Oreos with the peanut butter in the inside, I mean, that tasted more healthy to me. I felt better after eating something like that than I did after eating a lot of the food in the chow hall. And the chow hall food is not necessarily an Army thing. They actually contract that out to different companies who actually then come in, bring the food in, and then hire the people also that cook it. So it's just... it's these companies that are bringing it, and I understand the need to preserve the food. They have to add these chemicals and preservatives and whatnot to make sure that the food makes it over there and make sure that it's actually, still not, obviously not rotten or anything by the time it actually gets to the chow hall and gets cooked. But still, it makes you wonder, what level are they trying to preserve this stuff? I mean, how long are they trying to get it to last? I mean, it only needs to last a week or two, right? I mean, most freezers could take care of that. So it just makes me wonder, where's this food coming from? All the horror stories we hear about McDonald's and stuff, screw them. I want to find out where this food comes from.
I know, it's so fascinating to me because, like, I know I mentioned this before, like, before I joined the Army, I had never had an MRE, and I thought it was like kind of cool, like the packaging. I'm like, oh, it's kind of like astronaut food. It's so awesome. And then I was like, no, not so much. But anyway, But when you are in these situations, I think if you do have to eat an MRE, I think only eat parts of it because just the amount of calories and just all the processed stuff. But I'm really like a big fan of like buying beef jerky and nuts and then any kind of fruits that you can get. Like even like the worst like defects I've ever been to, there's always fruit. So I always think it's just one of those things to take with you. I don't know, fruit goes a long way, and so do nuts.
Yeah.
And then, of course, just like incredible amounts of water. I mean, you're in the military anyway, right? So, of course, you're used to like, hydration. And it's like, everybody's always talking about it. And if you're in a hot environment, you're going to have like hydration, formations and things like that. But water is huge. And then just trying to cut down, caffeine and all the coffee if you can, because it just messes with your metabolism.
Yeah, and
That's probably just the best thing you can do.
Sleep was definitely another big one for me over there. I ended up getting lucky later on in the deployment, but, sleep is obviously a huge factor in your health as well. So I can tell you in the beginning, I slept on a bunk bed, and this thing, the guy that slept under me, I'm pretty sure he just laid down there under me in fear at all times for his life, simply because my bed could have just crashed down on him at any given moment. And it was weird. It was like a 900-pound man had slept in my bed before I did. So it was literally bent and creased in the middle, and it kind of sloped towards the edge of the bed, so it was up against the wall, and then it would just do this downward slope towards the floor. So I would actually have to start sleeping as close to the wall as possible, and I would wake up in the middle of the night and be close to the edge, because that's just the way your body naturally rolls, when you're sleeping on a slope like that. So it was horrible for me to try and sleep. I was lucky, of course, that I even had a bed, but it was terrible to try and actually sleep there. And later on, I did actually end up getting lucky, and I moved into a U.S. Army Corps of Engineers compound, and man, those guys just have it all. I had my own little room. I had a nice bed with an AC and all that kind of internet connection. It was awesome working with the Corps of Engineers. So, but sleep is definitely another big one, and I don't know. Whatever you can do, I guess, to try and get the best sleep you possibly can, if it's even possible.
Yeah. Power naps are awesome. And I don't know. Just whenever you can, just the best quality sleep you can get. Like, I know for the most part, you're not supposed to take like your boots off and stuff like that. But I don't know. Like, it's one of those things. Like, I feel like if I'm comfortable, I'm going to fall asleep. I think all those little luxuries make a big difference if you're sleep deprived.
Yeah, I didn't find myself in that situation this time, where I was, I couldn't take my boots off or anything like that. So it was just, I don't know, maybe I'm just spoiled now, It was like the little blue light on the air conditioner that lights up the entire room when you have the light off, that bothered me. Or, and we had roommates that were on like night shifts, so there's always people coming and going out of your room, the door opening and slamming shut and all that kind of stuff. It just makes it difficult for anybody in that situation to actually get a consistent, 8 hours of sleep like you should actually get.
Well, for the most part, I think 7 hours of consecutive sleep is just incredibly important. Like if you're going to work out, which I highly recommend that you work out, your body needs like a minimum of 7 to recover. And I think everybody knows by now, when you work out, you're tearing your body apart, and when you sleep, you're building it back. So food and sleep and water and everything like goes hand in hand. But I don't know, sleep is just so important, and just good clean water is so important. And I don't know. There's definitely ways that you can work out. Like, I know you were in a situation where you couldn't run, and I know like I suggested jumping rope and like burpees and all those kinds of things if you don't have space. Just like a little bit goes a long way, because it's just really up to you to keep your body in shape.
It's not necessarily that I couldn't run, but that place just was horrible for running, because the gravel they had on the ground, it was literally like you were bouldering at any time when you were moving from one point to the other. You may as well just been on all fours, like crawling over these things. They were so huge. The rocks were so huge, and we had all kinds of problems with people twisting ankles and stuff like that. And we did have like a little place where there was actually a sidewalk, so I could run sprints, about quarter-mile sprints, which I did that as well, but it was definitely difficult to run, and I hate running anyways. The Army totally took any joy I had. You know what, I'm not even going to say that, because I had no joy. I've always hated running. It's just terrible. But yeah, my wife definitely did suggest the jump rope, and I of course went on Amazon and bought this fancy leather brown jump rope, which I then went about beating myself with it because I'm terrible at the jump rope as well, apparently. And that was so mostly stuck with the burpees and all that kind of. Everybody complains about burpees, but I mean, after you've basically whipped yourself with a jump rope so many times, you're like, you know what? I'll take the burpees. I'll just take it.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Like this week, like I said, we ended up eating like nothing but fried chicken, and we couldn't really work out. And that first workout was terrible. But I don't know. I mean, I definitely got like fruit and vegetables whenever I could, and that helped. And getting that first ugly workout in when you haven't worked out for a while, just getting past that one is just like everything's downhill from there.
Yeah,
it's worth it.
Yeah, and actually, you saying that very first workout, it makes me think about after I had gotten out and basically, basically just stopped everything. I just got out, just started doing my own thing, quit working out. Even if I wanted to, I didn't really know what I was doing. The Army only really teaches you to run daily and do push-ups and sit-ups, So, I don't know. They're probably getting a little bit better at it now. They're starting to embrace stuff like CrossFit and all that kind of stuff. But, it definitely wasn't like that back in the day. It was all run, push-ups, sit-ups. That's it.
Yeah.
Repeat,
And run faster, run. Yeah, it was all run faster, run longer, run faster, run longer. That was it.
Right. And so when I got out, even if I had enjoyed it, I'm telling you, the Army just would have sucked all the joy out of it for me. So when I got out, I was done. I don't want nothing to do with it. And then lo and behold, 6 months after I get out, I meet a woman, and she's a personal trainer in amazing shape and all this. And of course, I just feel like this complete loser. I was in the worst shape of my life, actually, when I met my wife. And so after I met her, I started again. I started eating a little better. I started, running a couple times a week. Of course, that's all I knew how to do. So that's what I would do. I'd go to the gym, get on a treadmill, and run 20 minutes as fast as I possibly could. And I actually started to lose a little weight. So I can definitely tell you right now that if you're getting out soon, and they may be a little bit different as well in the Marines, the Navy, the Air Force, all those other components as well. And like I said, they may all be getting better at it, but I can tell you when I got out, I had no idea what I was doing. And basically, I had to marry a trainer just to learn about this stuff. So
thanks. That's the only reason.
Hey, man, that's not the only reason. I just told a whole story about how meeting you was the reason I started getting back in shape. Come on.
Mm-hmm. I know Valentine's Day is clearly over.
Hey, you were the one that was gone for Valentine's Day, all right? Off like riding around and like taking pictures of jets and stuff, and just leave me here at the house with your two dogs driving me crazy.
No. They weren't just jets. I have some amazing photos that I cannot wait to share of the F-22. Oh my God, I cannot wait. So beautiful.
So anyways.
So beautiful. Oh, so beautiful.
Maybe you should have just joined the Air Force.
Oh my God! Speaking of the Air Force, I think you and I know certainly you and I have had this conversation before, but I don't know exactly. Well, I probably do know why, but their food is just so much better than ours, and I always knew that, and I always knew that they were treated better, as far as like housing and things like that, but. One of the first times I noticed it was almost 2 years ago. The first time I went to the McDill with the 982nd, and we walked in and it was like Whole Foods. It was so amazing in their little dining facility.
Whole Foods.
I was like, oh my! It was like the only thing that was missing was the little bar. I was so impressed, and I don't know. The quality of their food is amazing, and just I remember I had a little cottage, and it was just so great. That was awesome.
Yeah, so anyway, that wasn't any really relevant information for anybody out there. It was just to make you a little bit jealous that you haven't experienced this unless you were in the Air Force or you're my wife. So
it's so amazing. I don't know, but I do think that once you do get out of the military, it's definitely important to try to keep up, working out. I mean, it's just better for your health, like all the way around. Like whether you end up, meeting a personal trainer in a bar one day or not, it's definitely worth it, And
yeah, so if you don't know what you're doing, go out there, go to a gym, and just start trying to pick up all the trainers. That's all you got to do. Hey,
So
listen,
don't mean
I
that,
know
but-
I'm in terrible shape right now, but you want to go get a drink? Maybe a burger? I mean, not a burger. Maybe we can go to that organic place or something.
That's silly. What I was going to say is we're lucky that we live in like 2015 now, and there's so much information online, and so much of it is actually now really good and really beneficial. And I don't know, there's like tons of information and tons of blogs and things that you can actually now find that are so helpful if you can't, go to a CrossFit gym or find a trainer on your own. And I don't know, like I still love Rob Wolf. I love all the information he gives. One of my favorite things about him is he always like keeps up with the new science, and I just think it's amazing. And I still love Whole Nine, and God, who else do I really like? As far as fitness, T Nation to me, just I don't know what it is about them, but they have never, ever printed anything that I disagree with. I don't know, and then these are all free sites to go and look at. And it's just definitely worth it to keep yourself in shape.
Yeah, so, speaking to that, there is a lot of information out there on the internet and everything else. So, and even though there is a lot of good information, there's a lot of bad information too, so it's a lot to sift through. If you need any, references, you need any kind of points, websites, anything like that, we can definitely help you out with that. You can just email us at themax@vetscafe.com, and we can try and point you in the right direction depending on what you are looking for. And we're definitely both here to help you out with that. So, I say both of us, but there's only one trainer, so it's pretty much my wife. I'll tell you what, I actually have the email account on my laptop, so you can send me the email at themax@vetscafe.com. I will then forward it to my wife, who will then give me the links or the whatever she thinks is best. She can send that back to me, and then I can use our email and send that back to you. I know that sounded complicated, but it'll work. I promise.
And I mean, definitely feel free to ask any questions because, I still love the whole, I don't know. I love working out, and I love like just finding out what foods are good and not good anymore for whatever reason. I'm always fascinated by fitness and nutrition. So definitely feel free to reach out if you have any questions.
Yeah, she's so fascinated. In fact, some of you may not know this. She's so fascinated, in fact, that she actually spent an entire year as a vegetarian. Is that right?
Oh
Confess.
my God! I always yes, no, yes. I've actually, if you know me at all on Facebook, I've talked about it before. But yeah, I don't even remember what year this was. But this was, I mean, I'm ancient, but this was quite a few years ago, way before I met my husband. I saw, I don't know, I was like on TV or who knows where I was, the internet or something, and I saw a slaughterhouse video, and then the slaughterhouse video led me to a website, and the website led me to a book. And, I for the first time in my life, as silly as it sounds, I've always been a carnivore and I'm always all about red meat. But for the first time in my life, after this video and the website and the book, I did a little bit more research on my own about slaughterhouses, and I was horrified. And basically everything that I had read in this book was talking about how, like in a calendar year, if the average American didn't eat any kind of animal products, you are estimated to save 90 lives, right? So like on average, right? So it was basically like if you don't have any kind of animal product for 365 days, you save 90 lives. So I was like, well, hell, I could do that. I mean, why not, right? Oh my God, it was like, this was in a day and a time when it was even more challenging than it is now, just to find things that are actually true, true, like, God, what's the right word? I mean, it wasn't even that like I don't know, there wasn't really like a Whole Foods back then. I mean, there was, but they really weren't well known, and they weren't like all over the country. And I wanted to be vegetarian, and it was, I struggled, like I really struggled. Anyway, so I went ahead and did the 365 days. And I think maybe halfway into it or so, I was like, I'm going to go full on vegan. And that was, oh my God, I think I did that for like just under a month, and I couldn't do it. Anyway, so I went through it. I can't really say that, I like lost any more weight because I was already working out or anything like that. And I didn't feel as strong, but I don't know if that was because of my workout program per se, or if that was, my diet. But when I hit 366 days, I got so sick because I just ate probably 90 animals like in one day. I don't know. So it probably wasn't the best thing for me to do, but it was interesting.
So there you go.
Like this was so many years ago.
Well, there you go. So she only briefly let us down. You know, she's come back to the light, and she's back with us now. So
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it was a good thing to do. I mean, it was a different time, so I'm pretty sure it's easier now to be a vegetarian and a vegan, especially now if you want to work out. But it was so hard, and I don't know. I felt like it was a good cause at the time, but that's not something I can ever do. I mean, I can't live without eggs. I can't live without red meat. I just can't. I don't know.
I can actually,
and I eat the whole egg.
I can totally relate to that because I actually had to spend an entire 2 years with an iPhone. I was stuck in the contract. I mean, that was basically like being a vegetarian. It was terrible. And by the way, that was your fault, too. So that's karma.
I know. It's because we had the family plan. I was trying to save you money, basically.
We're still on the family plan.
I'm always trying to save you money. Anyway.
Look at that. Look at all this. Look at all this that I bought that was on sale. I saved you $100.
Because it's true. If I bought things at full price, I wouldn't save you any monies. But I'm buying these things on sale. I'm saving you money. It makes complete sense to me. And you know what? I'm doing it for you.
And that's love.
It is. And I just want to throw out there, I've been eating. You know, I'm 43. I've been eating red meat for my entire life except for that year. And I've always eaten the whole egg, and my cholesterol is amazing. So I just want to throw that out there. Because I know people are like anti-egg yolk, and I completely disagree with that. And people are anti-red meat, and I disagree. But that's just my opinion, and I have a decent amount of muscle mass, and I don't know. Anyway.
We actually just eat the egg yolk because it would be, if you didn't, it'd be like buying a dozen eggs and throwing 6 of them away. I mean, come on. Who's going to do that, you know? So,
and recently, just very, very recently, I learned how to fry an egg for the first time. So I'm very proud
that's
of
right.
my
She
whole
did.
egg thing.
She flipped it. And you know what? You know what's crazy is I've been frying eggs for us for a long time. And the first time I tried to show her how to flip it, I actually bust the yolk. So it was a terrible teaching experience. So anyways, again, quite off topic. But that's okay. So it's definitely been... It's definitely been a fun podcast, and like we said earlier, you can reach out to us anytime at the Mex at vetscafe.com. You can just go straight to our website, vetscafe.com, and you can contact us through there. We want to go ahead and give a special shout out to Casey. Thank you, Casey, for our first iTunes review. We definitely appreciate it, brother. And any of you listening, we definitely hope that if you have a moment, you could head over to iTunes or Stitcher if you listen on Stitcher. And you could join the revolution and also give us a good review on there, or a review. You know, we appreciate the feedback either way. So, but if you did, like I said, if you just want to send us an email or something like that, you can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter. There are so many different ways to get in contact with us. It's a little bit disgusting, but you know, figure out the way that's best for you, and you can reach out to us anytime. So definitely, if you have a moment, go ahead and do that. And if not, that's okay. If you want to reach out to us, like I've said, there's 15 million ways to do it. Just pick one, make it happen, and we'll be here to answer it. Thank you guys for listening to another episode of the Veterans Cafe Podcast. I'm Wes.
I'm Tracy.
And we'll talk to you again soon in the next episode.